What's going on, guys? Graham GSM Matthews back here. We got part two, round two with Tommy Bechtold of New Rockstars, esteemed actor. Tommy, what's going on, man? Thanks for taking the time to chat again.
Hey, Graham, thanks for having me back. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So we spoke about a month ago. I just told you a second ago before we started recording. It feels like it was yesterday. And
Mm,
that initial conversation, I had so many so many questions for you about wrestling, because that's how I was already introduced to you through the show and whatever. That's how
mhm,
I was familiar with you. But it was your wrestling references and your wrestling fandom that got me like, okay, I got to talk to this guy and pick his brain about wrestling. And then we spoke for like an hour about all crazy kind of stuff. And it was such a great conversation. I didn't want to
mhm,
stop you, and we had so
mhm.
much fun. I didn't even get to any wrestling stuff at all. So I knew
Yeah,
we had to have a second part. But
yes. Well, thanks. I'm glad we get another chance to talk.
definitely, dude. So
Mm.
we just spoke about this a second ago, but how you been the last month? Again, I know time flies like that.
Yeah, been good. Things have been busy. Just like you, it was in a blink of an eye. I was like, yeah, it honestly feels like we talked a week ago, and then it's like, oh no, that was literally a month ago. So yeah,
Yeah.
things have been good.
That's awesome, dude. And I know we just barely scratched the surface on this last time. And I know you mentioned it. I wanted to bring up this time because I just got done watching, like catching up to speed with all the episodes. But
Mhm.
the fitness show you guys got going on, New Rockstars, you, Eric, and
Yes.
Philip, which has been an absolute blast. And it's like
Yeah.
my new favorite thing on the channel, which is saying a lot with all the Falcon Winter Soldier stuff out right now. But
Sure. That's
talk to
high
me about.
praise, Graham. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Take me through that show. What's the process been like? How you been the last couple of weeks, months filming the show?
It's been really fun. It's a really fun show. I think the thing about it is the whole point of the doing it is to show that you don't need to be a physical specimen to
Mhm.
work out. And Eric is, I think we're kind of like nesting dolls. Philip is very fit. Eric is kind of fit. I am wildly out of shape. So it's like, we kind of showing the gamut, and it's been fun. I used to work out a lot when I was younger, and I played sports, and then I have spent a long time kind of afraid to work out,
Mhm.
and so this has kind of pushed me to get out and get active, and it seems like it's making other people want to get out and get active, and we take a humorous take on it, so it's not we don't take it so seriously, so it's been really fun. And people's reactions have been the best part of it, like people saying that it's motivating them to work out, or
Oh, nice.
or even if they just find it funny,
Yeah.
that's I'm fine with that too. So yeah, it's been a really good experience.
Yeah, it's been motivating, it's inspiring, it's entertaining. You kind of hit every like nail right there, with the show,
Mm,
which is cool. And it engages people to do what you guys are doing with like the activities and whatnot. And I love the incorporation because at the end of the day, it is, a very superhero themed channel with all the
mm,
movies and stuff you guys cover and everything else. So to incorporate that in there, just to do a fitness show, I think would have been cool with you guys.
yeah.
But for Philip's idea, all of your guys' collective ideas to
Mm.
incorporate like the movies into it, just like with
Oh
the
yeah.
Ant-Man episode, you know what
Oh
I
yes.
mean?
Yes,
Was
absolutely.
fantastic.
No, and that keeps it fun.
Mhm.
Certainly you're right, we would be reward enough just to do the working out, but like, yeah, the added element of adding things that we're also such big fans of makes it fun. And the challenges, I mean, they don't tell us ahead of time what we're going to do.
Oh,
They
okay.
try and keep Eric and I in the dark for that process,
Mhm.
so it's always a surprise to go into the studio where we're shooting those and like just see, like, like you said in the Ant-Man video, there's like a giant cell phone and all these like blown up items, and it's like, yeah, it's amazing that they can do that, and that we get to make this show. It's really
Yeah.
really fun. Yeah.
And it just makes something as simple as going for a jog, which was obviously inspired from the opening scene from Winter Soldier. Just
Mhm,
it's relevant and it's entertaining, like it's
mhm.
great. And then you get
Yeah,
like the editors, like we mentioned last time,
yeah.
that make the magic happen, saying, "Oh, they took like a million breaks, but at least they got to their end goal." You know what I
Right.
mean?
And they were accurate with that. That was
That's awesome. How many more weeks can we expect of the show? Because there's 20 something Marvel movies. You guys are doing two
yeah.
movies an episode. So how many more weeks do we have of the show?
I think the show is going to go either 12 or 13 episodes.
Oh,
So
okay. So we got like
what are
6 or 7 weeks
yeah,
left.
we're about halfway through. Yeah.
Nice.
Hmm.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, we look forward to it. The episodes so far have been great. So, and they air every Sunday, right, on the channel?
Every Sunday. And yesterday there was some technical snafus, but usually they're out by like 10 a.m. But
That makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was watching. I was on my way to New York City yesterday. I was watching it on the
Mm-hmm.
train, and there were like
Mm-hmm.
some glitches and stuff with it,
Yeah,
whatever. But then the episode got removed. They got put back
yeah,
up. So as we speak right now, it's perfectly
yeah.
fine.
It's
But
it's back there. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You can relive it in all of its glory. So it's on the
Yes.
channel on Sundays, which is cool.
Yeah.
What's been like with
Thanks.
that one last thing on the show itself? What's been
Sure.
like the craziest thing you guys have done with that so far? Because I know Philip has mentioned
Mhm.
it's a complete shoot in wrestling terms. It seems like
Yeah.
with you don't know what's going to be coming and all that other
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
Like in terms of like him calling you at 5 o'clock in the morning to go work out or whatever.
Yeah, that part is definitely that part definitely shocked me. I was like, it also it's yeah, I think it's the thing. What has been surprising to me is there's a potential because of Eric and Philip and I's French a pre-existing friendship
Mhm.
for this to just be goofy and
Yeah.
and not real, like
Mhm.
just kind of like will be silly or whatever. And I've been surprised at how serious Philip has taken this and how, not to pat Meyer Eric's selves on the back, but how we've all kind of like bought into it. Like that, I think the reason it's been successful is that we all are kind of putting aside any sort of like self-conscious, like, oh, I don't want to look stupid, so let's just plan this out and like make sure that we all look good. And
Yeah.
we've just kind of gone for it. So like that's been surprising in terms of like difficult challenges. I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy dancing thing was like, I just because it was so chaotic. I mean, I had no idea Eric was a good dancer, and that kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
But so I think that challenge was the most enlightening to me of
Mhm.
of anything. But they've all been really fun. They've all been really really fun. So
Yeah, they've all seemed like they've been a blast. I'm surprised you didn't know what Eric's dance history. I know he's mentioned at least a couple of videos his history of Dance Dance Revolution. He said he's like a master of that
I
thing.
think I blocked it out. I think I think it's something I didn't want to know about Eric.
Then you got back at him when you guys did the Ant-Man challenge after that in the
Yes.
next episode, I think.
Oh yeah.
So it all
Yes,
works on
I'm
that.
very spoiler alert. I'm very bitter about that because I felt like I absolutely thrashed him at that, and
You
then
did.
we both got disqualified for cheating. So
Yeah. Cheaters never prosper. So there are other
no,
lessons to the episodes aside from just the
yes,
physical stuff, I guess.
that's
But
right. These are morality tales as well, I'm sure.
they are. So with the wrestling stuff, man, just talk about, your wrestling fandom and whatever. I guess first
Oh,
and foremost, where did it start for you? When did you start
oh
watching
man.
wrestling? What got you into it?
So I wrestling for me, the reason I really became a big wrestling fan was it was like a forbidden fruit in my home
Hmm.
as a kid.
It's a good way
Like
to put it.
my parents were like not into wrestling even a little bit. And
Yep.
so I have cousins that are close to my age, named Zach and Nate and Nick, who their parents were the opposite.
Hmm.
They could watch R-rated movies, they could watch wrestling, they could watch MTV. So I would go over there on Saturday mornings and watch wrestling and be like, what is this? I need more of it. As like a 6-year-old. So we're
Yeah.
talking like Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, like early 90s wrestling
Hmm.
and late 80s wrestling. And then I kind of like from there it was like I would watch it whenever I could. I would sneak moments in to watch wrestling. And finally, as I got to be in middle school, kind of like right around the Monday Night Wars
Hmm.
era, WCW, WWF, WWE, uh, my mom kind of relented a little bit and was like, I remember her having like the rule was like Monday Night Nitro is okay. Monday Night Raw is not okay.
That makes sense.
Right.
Given
Because
the
I
time
was like,
period.
yeah. I mean, that's when like, the storylines on Monday Night Raw were like, is there gonna be full frontal nudity? Like, is
Yeah.
Jerry the King Lawler's girlfriend gonna like whip him out on camera? Not to be too crass, but it was like,
Yeah.
okay, so I get it. Like as an adult man now, I understand my mom's fears. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, really that was when I would say like the late like 1997 and 98 were when I really started watching every week,
Yeah.
especially WCW at that point. And yeah, from there, kind of, I will say my parents then kind of relented, and not only that, my dad ended up taking me to a couple of house shows, and then
Nice.
after that, you know, once I was like 15, they were like, well, we can't stop him from watching wrestling. Like it's like
Yeah.
this is good. That's a little too puritanical. So yeah, I ended up going to like live event. I remember I went to a few SmackDown tapings, and then I
Mhm.
went to one of the last WCW tapings because that was when the company was doing so bad that they
Yeah.
would give free tickets.
Really?
So we
Holy
had War
shit.
Memorial in Rochester. It's called the Blue Cross Arena now,
Mhm.
and they were handing out tickets in front of it, and my friend and I knew that, so we went and got free tickets to go because they just needed to fill the place
Yeah.
for the taping.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that was one of the last, I think, probably the last 6 months of Nitro. So yeah, that's kind of my origin story.
Nice, and
Wrestling
that
here.
speaks volumes too, because those last 6 months of Nitro were terrible, like,
Yeah.
it
What was like
was
the
bad.
new blood when they like had like there was like the new blood? I think I'm trying to
Yep.
remember now. And
Yeah.
they just basically were like, we're gonna do a like old people versus young people feud. It's like regardless of if these characters or if these guys are baby faces or heels, they're all gonna be one or the other.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah.
I just remember it was like so many off personality. I was like, wait, that guy's been a good guy for like 5 years. Now he's bad.
Yeah,
Like, and
exactly.
it wasn't like a shocking heel turn or like
Mhm.
they had built any storyline. It was just like, no, we've just decided it was old versus young.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's when they started throwing, like, Virgil and, like, the $1 million
yeah,
Man, Teddy
yes,
DiBiase in there in, like,
yes, yeah,
2001, which is
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. These guys are like, we just want to be in Florida golfing. What are you doing? We don't need to be out here.
Exactly. At that point, they were just throwing shit at the wall and just to see
Yeah.
what stuck, just to
Oh
really
yeah.
just to survive. It wasn't even a matter of putting on
Yeah.
a good product. It was just a
Yeah.
matter of keeping that TV deal, which eventually got taken away from them. But
Well, it seems to me like the the kind of the beginning of the end was when the four guys from WCW that had those bad contracts left and showed up on Monday Night Raw. It was like Eddie
yeah, the
Guerrero
Radicals, yeah.
and yeah, it was like that to me was like those were like four huge talents. Like it'd be like if you just took like the best four New England Patriots and put them on the Jets.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly. Yeah.
like oh okay, like I guess this is over now. So but
How do you let those type of people like slip through your fingers, especially at that
yeah,
point,
I mean
with
I
the money
think
they
that
had at that
yeah,
time too.
it seems to me. I mean I haven't gone too deep into like the economics of it, but it seems like the business model that pro wrestling is built on is the independent contractor thing, and you
Yep.
just run that risk of like
Yeah.
if you don't lock people into contracts now, like, and even if you're paying them well as independent contractors, it just takes one disgruntled person to go like, all right, well, I'm gonna stick it to you and go to your direct competitor,
Yeah.
and everything can unravel. So
Yeah, it's
that's the
I've
lesson.
never worked inside the business myself, but just
Yeah,
observing it as a fan and writing
yeah,
about it and stuff like that and covering
yeah,
it, like
yeah.
that type of stuff, the whole independent contractor situation
Mhm,
is just a mess. I know, God, who someone did a bit on it on their show, like Stephen Colbert, I think a couple of
mhm,
years ago. He did like this 15-minute bit about the independent contractors and all like, health insurance and shit like that, which was
mhm,
fascinating. But the
mhm.
behind the scenes stuff of wrestling, like, is just crazy from what I've
Yeah,
seen.
yeah. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch more because I know they have that great show. Was it Dark Side of the Ring?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's a
I
great show to
but
get into.
I got to get into that. Yeah, not to. I'm sure people will love to listen to me talk about shows I want to watch. That's riveting content. But yeah, yeah. The behind the scenes part of it is always. I think I've always been more drawn to like the creative side of wrestling, like
Mhm.
like the storyline writing and crafting, and then like when I was a kid, I would obsessively go to like the websites that would have rumors and like this person might be going here, this
Yeah.
person might be changing gimmicks, like the like mechanism of it I think has always been maybe the more interesting thing to me. As impressive as the physical feats are, I
Mhm.
think just the way my brain works is I can only watch people throwing each other around for so long, but if there's like a real good reason for it, or if they've
Yeah.
like invented, or if they've done like these great uh you know promos, if they cut these like great promos on each other and have just been like betraying each other for weeks, it's like
Yeah.
then I'm really really into it. So
Did you remember what your go-to website for like the dirt sheet stuff was back in
oh
the day, or you
man,
don't remember?
I'm trying to remember because yeah, I really want to remember because it was a hilarious site. Like it was definitely somebody's uh like some computer savvy adult's teenage son who was just aggregating people's
Yeah.
stuff onto like a GeoCities website that
Yep.
was like just clearly cut and paste items. But I can't. I gotta find out. I'll find
Yeah.
out.
It'll
I
just
gotta.
like
Yeah,
randomly come to you one of
it's
these
gonna come
days.
into my head, and I'm gonna go to it. But that also you just reminded me that probably my most shamefully nerdy thing that I've ever participated in
Yeah.
was a role playing wrestling federation in high
EFED, was that what it
school.
was called?
Well, no, this was just friends of mine started
Oh,
it.
okay.
And it was like we just cut promos via Word documents and then like would post them to the message wall. And
Yeah.
then based on those promos, the guys that ran the federation would then script out how our match went. And we did this for like 2 years. Like, I mean, this is like a bunch of
We've all been
50,
there, dude. I've done that too.
I was like, oh my god, I can't, I totally had, I blocked this memory out, but it was amazing. We were like, it was like, just imagine the horrible things 15-year-old boys say to each other too.
Yeah, never fly today would never make the show.
No, our promos that we cut would have had us all banned and canceled for life, I'm sure. But,
yeah, exactly.
oh my god, I totally forgot that I did that. That was fun.
What's like your go-to wrestling name, whether it be for that or if like you became a wrestler right now? What would be your name in your mind?
My name, oh man.
And finisher, I guess. Do bonus question.
Oh, my finisher. I've always been a big fan of the choke slam. I don't know,
dude. The choke slam is classic.
This is such a violent. It's one of the few wrestling moves that like always looks like it hurts no matter what. Like, it's like if you could get the person to like sell it and throw them hard against the ground, I'm like, oh, that was awesome. Man, wrestling name. I don't know. I have to think about that.
You never had like one persona in your mind, like, oh yeah, I'd be like again, like the Crusher or some shit, which is so generically and shit, and what, but something like that, you know?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like my name was something really lame in this thing, like Tommy Gunn or something like that, which has already been taken by many other people.
I'm sure, yeah.
First of all, the guy in Rocky 5.
There you go.
Tommy Gunn. Second of all, I think there's a porn star named Tommy Gunn. So I was not. I was not the first Tommy Gunn, but I was the best. I think I'll have to stick with Tommy Gunn. That's what people always called me. So.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
And that would kind of go with wrestling because I would be ambiguously tethered to the other Guns that are wrestling. People would be like, "Is he related to them?" And then, depending on who you talk to, they'd be like, "Yeah, that's his son." And then someone would be like, "No, they're not related at all."
Oh, that's so funny. I mean, that's a gimmick that could maybe work in 2021. I'm not sure, but like you said, it's been taken and done like a million times.
Oh,
but
yeah, absolutely. Well, there's nothing original about me, Graham.
There's nothing original with wrestling, so I don't blame you at all. You're definitely not the only one. There's nothing original about me either, Tommy. So I appreciate that.
Well, I do remember there was a wrestler named the Sinister Minister.
Yes, James Mitchell,
and me and my friend was Jewish, so we wrestled as the Sinister Minister and the Cool Guy Rabbi for a while. We were like, I forget, I think we were called like the Higher Powers or something like that, and that was our tag team.
Dude, that is fire. That could actually work, to be honest with you.
But all credit to the original Sinister Minister. I had nothing. I cannot claim that was his gimmick. But we were like, what could we play off of? And my friend was like, well, I'm Jewish, you're Catholic. I'll be the Cool Guy Rabbi, you be the Sinister Minister. I was like, done. Perfect.
That's classic.
Yeah.
He was actually on AEW like a couple months ago, I think. He's like an actual an actual minister. Like he actually does weddings and shit like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, awesome. Which is hilarious. The guy's been around forever. Which is
longevity in wrestling is a good thing, I think.
It's key, dude. If you can find different gimmicks, whether you can be a manager and an actual wedding minister, I mean, like you're set for life at that point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
One name that comes to my mind, I wrote in like, the old WWF, WWE magazine. They don't have it anymore. They haven't had it in years, but I used to be a big collector of that. My name that I came up with, not for me, but just in general, was so dumb that it actually made the magazine. And I still have the copy. It said Graham from Connecticut. So I'm like, oh, that's me. And I read it. The guy this would never work like in terms of trademarks and shit or in copyright or whatever. It was a guy named Jack Frost, like Jack Frost, like whatever, Jack Frost. So the only reason I wanted to do that was because the finisher could be Frostbite, because I thought that sounded cool, but it was so dumb that it made the magazine. So it's forever like in the canon.
I think it sounds amazing. I'd like to see the Frostbite. I'd like to see that in action.
I would love to see that. I mean, again,
next WWE pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly. They have they've had so many dumb characters over the years. I almost think that it could work. Like they had a Trash Man, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The Shockmaster. I met the Shockmaster once at Comic-Con.
Did you really? Oh, that's awesome.
It was really funny because it was my friend was working the WWE booth, and he was like, "Come over," because it was AJ Styles and Becky Lynch were there, and I'm
Oh, that's sick.
a big fan of both of them.
Yeah.
And so I go over, and there was like they have like at Comic-Con they'll have 3 superstars a day sitting there just signing free autographs, which is cool.
You're talking about San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego.
Okay.
Comic-Con. Sorry, and yeah, as if that's the only one. There's like 9 million Comic-Cons.
Well, I know you're from New York too. You've been in New York, so I know you're talking
New
about
York
New York
Comic-Con is a bucket list for me. I've never been to that one.
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, I think my Comic-Con career started when I was out here in California. So.
That makes sense, yeah.
But anyway, so it was like Becky Lynch, AJ Styles, and I didn't really, I'm not a huge autograph guy. I like collecting memorabilia, but like I was like, I really more just wanted to meet them. So I meet them, and then there's just this other random dude sitting there, and it was like, I was looking at the thing, and I was like, he had pictures of the Shockmaster. I'm like, oh, this is the Shockmaster from WCW.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that like crazy video when he falls through the drywall and like he's cutting. They're like doing the Shockmaster promo. It's a great YouTube video for anyone who's.
It's the greatest botch I think of all time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then his helmet falls off.
Yeah, and it's a fucking stormtrooper helmet. You forgot to mention that part.
It's a purple. Is it like it's purple like glitter?
Yeah, there's glitter on it. Yeah.
And then the other guys are just trying not to die. Like,
yeah.
The best part is when the camera goes to them and they're just like, "What?"
I forgot who was. I think Hogan was there or someone like that.
It was Sid Vicious, right?
Oh, Sid Vicious. Yeah.
Sid Vicious was one of them, and I don't know who the other people were, but
yeah.
It was so. Anyway, I got to meet the Shockmaster, and that was to me that was a life goal achieved, I guess.
Did you meet Becky and AJ that time too?
Yes. And then the funny thing is, right after that, I was supposed to go and be like do an interview on one of the like I think it was called Comic-Con HQ stage.
Oh, cool.
And I get there, and they're like, "Can you hold off for 1 second? We have a couple people that need to go first before you," and it was them. So they bumped me off the show. It was like betrayal. I just met you. Then they come walking through, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" No memory of meeting me 15 minutes before, which I understand. And I was like, "Hey guys," and then they did the show instead of me. So
that's great.
There's some entertainment industry.
That's just the entertainment industry in a nutshell, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We talked about it last time, like your experience meeting Jake, and how he definitely remembered you like 5 minutes when you met him like 3 times in a row.
Oh yeah.
And how I mentioned to you last time how like and in meeting. We talked about like when you meet these people, like especially if you've interacted with them before, like you hope they remember you. Like, oh, do you remember that time I met you like 3 years ago, 2 months and a day ago, blah blah blah.
Right.
But 15 minutes, it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah, come on.
I literally just saw you.
And I'm like, I'm a big guy. It's not like I, am like, pretty cookie cutter. I kind of stand out in terms of just scope of being. But
sure.
Anyway, whatever. That's all right. I forgive him. I've moved on.
No hard feelings.
No hard feelings. But the Shockmaster is dead to me. Hopefully alive in real life, but
he is. I think he's still alive.
Okay, good.
Shockmaster, Becky, AJ, Jake. Who else is on that list of wrestlers that you've met, or is that it?
I've met some of the newer guys just because of being friends with Ryan Nemeth. So
that's cool.
I've met like Tyler Breeze and I forget what his real name is. Obviously Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph, of course.
And John Morrison. Because those guys used to come to our shows, which was nice, like to support their brother, which I thought was very nice.
That's really cool, yeah.
It's like, but it's really funny to do a comedy show and then look out and see like a wrestler-sized guy, especially like Dolph Ziggler, like he's always got bleach blonde hair too.
Yeah.
So it's like
he stands out.
You're looking at a bunch of like comedy nerds in like flannels and glasses, and then there's just like an Adonis sitting there. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that that's pretty much it, though. I don't know if I've met. I met Jonathan Coachman at a restaurant.
At a what?
At a restaurant.
At a restaurant, like randomly, or like?
Well, they were in town.
Oh, okay.
And then I went to. I mean, I wasn't planning on him being there.
Yeah.
I was at the restaurant with my friend, and I was like, "That's the coach," and. So I met him too.
Did you? Oh, what did you do? So what is like your procedure at that point for meeting people? Because like some fans are like, "Oh, let me follow him into the urinal." Like that might be a little too far.
It's interesting because now having not that I have a ton of fans, but I've had people come up to me now,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
So you know what it's like on the other side of the coin. Yeah.
and I always love it. Like for me,
Yeah.
I'm such a egomaniac that like you could follow me into the urinal and I would be like, you know what, this is great. But I with celebrities in general, I mean now not so much. But like I always try and assess whether or not they're busy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
they're like he was literally sitting at the bar
Oh,
drinking
okay,
a
that's
beer.
different. Yeah.
I'm like, this guy doesn't care if I come up and like and to be fair, he was really like I mean, as it played out, he was super nice. He chatted with me and my friend for a second,
Cool.
and we were both like huge sports fans in general. So like he was a good celebrity to meet just in the sense that he does wrestling, but he also does, you know, like for a while he was working for ESPN
Yeah.
forever. So it was like, you know, he was an interesting person to meet just because there was so many things that, you know, I could have, if I could have talked to him for longer, but we ended up talking for 2 minutes, taking a picture, and it was perfectly nice. I always like, if they're eating, never if they're eating. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're look like they're in a rush, never. Like it's
No.
just like not even necessarily because I think like that should be hands off. It's just that you're setting yourself up for a bad experience with someone you admire if you're
Absolutely.
interrupting them while they're doing something. And it's like I kind of can't blame them if they're short with me in that
Yeah.
situation. So rather than have a bad taste in my mouth about someone because I interrupted them mid chicken finger bite, like I'd rather, you know, meet them organically, I guess, you know?
Yeah. There's those people. I think it's definitely the minority of people that go out of their way to be like extra nice, even in situations like that. Like you mentioned,
Mhm.
like someone could follow you into the urinal, you
Right,
wouldn't
right,
care.
right,
Like I
right.
definitely think like you're the super nice, ultra like minority of people that would be like
Yeah,
that. Because like the
yeah,
actual like most people like, and it's normal. Again, it's to be expected. But some
right.
people their entire world revolves around like themselves. So like if you're
Mhm.
waiting at the airport, which is fucking I think that's weird, but like
Yeah.
if you're waiting at the side of someone's terminal, which has
Mhm,
happened before,
mhm.
I can't imagine how they can find that info. Like if you run into
Right.
someone that's different,
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Yeah.
or like
No, it's always weird when people know, and that I mean, this happens a lot to athletes, I think,
yeah,
and obviously wrestlers are the same, where they're traveling from city to city.
yep,
There's always the people that get the like they somehow find out the schedule of these guys and
yeah,
women as well. And they're like, they know the hotel they're gonna be at, they know if they're gonna be going for like a team dinner somewhere, and
yep,
like this is the same, and a lot of times they're just eBay resellers that just want to
exactly, dude,
they just want to get a
exactly,
bunch of stuff signed to
yeah.
sell.
And
And
they
I
got
mean,
5
you
action
know,
figures. It's like, come on, man,
right.
what are you gonna do with this shit?
It always, I mean, I like I said, I have a pretty big collection of just memorabilia from over the years of just things that I've done, but like it always bums me out when there's someone signing autographs and there's like kids trying to reach up and then there's like adults over them that are like,
Yeah.
although I will say, to be fair, when I was 14 years old, I did pretend to be 11 years old to get an autograph from Bobby Higginson at the Tiger Stadium in Detroit with my little brother. So I used my little brother as like the in. There was a little league team that was all. He was just meeting this little league team as some sort
Yeah.
of promotion, and I was like, "Let's get in line with them." And
Mhm.
a lot of stares from people as a giant 14-year-old was pretending to be an 11-year-old. So I can't say I always practice what I preach, Graham.
We've all done it once or twice, dude. I did that with Jerry Lawler one time. He was one of the
Yeah.
first wrestlers I met, and
Hmm.
I think an autograph, like this is only 10 years ago, and it
Hmm.
was like maybe $15. I didn't see that ahead of time. I just got in
Hmm.
line. It was like $15 for an autograph. I had
Sure.
$5, and it was me, my friend, and my younger brother who wanted to
Hmm.
get stuff signed. But
Right. Right.
because
Right.
my younger brother is 5 years younger than me, and at that point he was like 6 or 7 years old,
Uh-huh.
kind of like was again, like you said, the end to kind of get us free stuff. So it's like I've been there.
Perfect.
You feel bad
Yeah.
in the moment. It's like, we
Yeah.
still got the autograph, so I don't really care. I don't think
Yeah. There
it's
you
not
go.
off of his back, so whatever,
Exactly.
you
He's
know.
fine. I think he's okay.
Exactly. He's not hurting for money. I
Yeah.
think he's
Yeah.
okay. With Ryan Nemeth, you mentioned, and
Yeah.
you've gotten to meet Dolph and
Hmm.
Morrison and people like that who are also involved in acting. I know Dolph hasn't done a ton of acting.
Oh
I know
yeah, for
John
sure.
Morrison does, so I'm sure he
Oh
looks
yeah.
at you and it's like, it's not like, obviously you see him as a WWE superstar or whatever, but he
Hmm.
also looks at you as someone like maybe I can learn something from this guy. I mean, it was a comedy show that you said
Yeah.
that you met him at, right? Or was that
Yeah.
what it in the
Yeah.
crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, so Ryan and I have been. So I actually met Ryan because he was doing a special for. He was getting into personal training,
Hmm.
and I had friends from comedy that knew him. and they were like, oh, he's a good guy, you should go like work out with him, because I was trying to get, another time in my life I was trying to get in shape. So we started working out together. He started training me, and then we kind of hit it off, and I knew he was a comedian, so we just started doing improv shows together.
Mhm.
And then that kind of snowballed into like we haven't done as many as we'd like, obviously, with the pandemic, but
Yeah.
yeah, we kind of got into it that way. And then there's a whole, as you say, there's like a whole like kind of horde of wrestlers that are in LA as their home base that
Mhm.
are pursuing acting opportunities, and they're cool. Yeah, they come out to the shows, they support Ryan. And then Dolph had his
Stand up, right?
stand-up thing that he would take all over the country, and
Yeah.
Ryan would go on that with them. So that was a lot of the times where I would get a chance to meet those guys. I would go to that show
Mhm.
and then hang out with Ryan afterwards, just kind of be a hanger on. But like
Oh, that's
you get
cool.
the cred when you're if you're like, you have a friend in the show, like you're not as desperate on the fringes. But yeah, and then Ryan got he financed and directed and wrote and shot his own short film that's like going around to festivals right now,
I was gonna say,
called
isn't that coming out like on
called
Friday or
Healed.
something? I saw him tweet about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
the Heels movie.
really
Yeah.
it's really good, and he did a really, really, really nice job. And then a lot of those guys are in that, so I'm excited for him for that. But you're right, yeah, there is like a crossover of like, maybe there is like, they can teach me how to take a fall, and maybe I can teach him a few stock jokes or something. We'll do a trade off. it'll be a 1-for-1. That'll be perfect.
He's got to get you. I mean, obviously, with the current circumstance of the pandemic and obviously and stuff like that, it's harder. But he's got to get you to an AEW show one of these days, because he's
I
been in
know.
AEW recently.
I'm jonesing to, yeah, and he's so excited, and I mean, that's such a, I can't speak for him, but it's such a great opportunity, I
Yeah.
think, and well deserved for him. He's a very hardworking guy, and he yeah, I'm just happy for him. Yeah, but
Yeah, it's
yes, as
awesome.
soon as we can go to those shows, I'm going to one for sure.
I've been to a couple. I was there when they did their first Double or Nothing show, which was like
Mhm.
their launch pay-per-view a few years ago, and they had John Moxley show up, the former
Oh
Dean
yeah,
Ambrose from WWE, and it was
yes.
just an incredible moment. The atmosphere of those shows, WWE, it's all about like the spectacle, and those shows are always a blast. I mean, you've been to
Mhm.
a fair amount, as you said, the house shows and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's always just such a fun time,
Mhm.
But before I get further with that, because I want to ask another question about that, going back
Oh
to
yeah,
the acting stuff for a second, and
yeah,
you
sure.
mentioned that crossover. Who do you see in wrestling right now, whether it be in a WWE or an AEW or whatever?
Mhm.
Because again, we have John Cena doing some stuff right now, Dave
Sure.
Batista, The Rock are all the biggest ones, but there are other
Mhm.
people, like you said, Ryan Nemeth. There's a couple of
Mhm.
John Morrison has done acting before, among other people.
Yeah.
Who do you see having like the biggest potential? If they were to cross over, you could see them being very successful in that field.
I mean, he's already been successful, but I think if he ever truly focused on it, I think the
Mhm.
Miz could be bigger than Cena.
Absolutely.
I think he could be. I mean, I actually really, I mean, I genuinely, it's easy to be snarky about John Cena. I genuinely think he has acted in some things where I'm like, he's talented. He's undeniably charming and funny. And I think, like, after this next slate of projects come out, he's going to be basically one tier below The Rock in terms of
Yeah.
like, in terms of being a household name. So, to non-wrestling fans. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think the Miz, I mean, personality wise, it's like, seems kind of undeniable that, like, I know these are big wrestlers, but like, these aren't like huge like diamonds in the rough. But like, if Roman Reigns wanted to do it, I'm pretty sure with like with his pedigree, he could probably, these bigger guys that have like charisma. It's like they are kind of built in to do action movies where the expectation of great acting isn't really there anyway. It's like, can you believably jump off of like, a helicopter onto a side of a cliff and then say a one liner? It's like,
Yeah.
but I would like, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a more like an interesting choice, but
No, that's
I
a good one though.
I think like, the Miz to me would be undeniable. He's just so funny.
Yeah. He's
He's
just so
just so
talented.
he's so good. Like,
Yeah.
and I know, like, I mean, I'm sure a part of it for a lot of these guys is like, if they're still going to try and wrestle relatively full time, like, you can't. It'd be
It's
so hard to
tough.
then try and have an acting career on top. I mean, ultimately, once the acting takes off, they kind of have to pick between them, as we've
Yeah.
seen. So I don't know. I think that definitely those guys. Man, I want to say like, who was coming to my mind? I was trying to think. Like, I want to say like Seth Rollins too could
Ooh, that'd be a
probably.
good one.
He seems like he could get in there, and he's so good at being bad.
Mhm.
Like
He's a great asshole character.
yeah, and which is why I loved when he was like good for a year.
Yeah.
Like they were but it was like the thing that they do in wrestling where it was like he was good by circumstance. Like it was
Yeah,
like
exactly.
enough
Yeah.
enough other bad guys did terrible things to him
By
that he
comparison, he's okay. He's not that
that he
bad.
had to be good. I was like, I mean, the what was it? It was like the Triple H WrestleMania fight where it was
Yes.
just
Yeah.
like where he just like it was like a pretty crazy long match, and like he
Yeah.
just they both look like it's always a great match when both guys are just like look like they're legitimately completely exhausted of any
Yeah.
energy. But I yeah, I enjoy him. I think he's really talented too. I know I'm basically saying like the top wrestlers in the company,
No, but these are good answers though.
yeah.
Miz, Cena, yeah, Cena's another one. I completely agree. Like, there's some stuff I never saw the Bumblebee movie. I wasn't a big
Yeah.
Transformers fan, so I didn't see that. But
Yeah.
Blocker stands out to me. I thought, like, as a comedy guy, honestly, I think he's very entertaining.
Same.
He's a genuinely funny guy.
I wonder if Cesaro would be a good actor.
That's interesting. Maybe.
I like the interesting personality. I mean, like Sheamus was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
He was
the voice
as
of, Bebop,
Rocksteady, right?
Rocksteady, yeah.
Or no, yeah. What was the other name you mentioned? Or what?
Rocksteady and Bebop were the two.
Oh, it wasn't Bebop.
guys.
Yeah, it was Rocksteady. I think.
It was
Yeah.
Rocksteady,
Okay. Yeah.
And then Becky Lynch has acted too. I know.
Yeah, she was in that show before she got pregnant called Billions or something like that. I forgot. It was an HBO show.
And then Sasha Banks is on The Mandalorian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's another one. She hasn't had a ton of acting experience, but that one show alone, I mean, hey, that's a good place to start.
That's a hell of a debut for sure.
In the season finale, encountering Luke Skywalker of season 2.
No
I mean,
kidding. I know, right? Oh my god,
it's amazing.
Incredible.
I was talking to my girlfriend about like who would be good in the acting world, and she mentioned Bray Wyatt. I think he would be another one in like the horror movie genre.
Yes.
You know,
he's got a great I mean, when you can still in 2021 make wrestling creepy, like make gimmicks creepy or scary, it's pretty impressive because you know, when I was 7, I was scared of the Undertaker because all the lights would go off and that like church organ music would play. And you'd be like, there'd be the Druids and whatever. But like now in 2021, it's like, oh, he still is great at being terrifying.
Yeah,
I think so. I think you're right, Bray Wyatt.
I mean, who can't be scared of the Undertaker? You know what? Especially like at that point. I mean, who didn't think that Kane and Undertaker were actually like? Who didn't think that they were actually brothers? You know what I mean?
And that Kane was a demon.
Exactly. He was in See No Evil too. He was in a couple of those See No Evil movies.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And now he's a mayor, so I guess the acting ship has sailed. But
now he's like didn't he choke slam? Did you see that video of like the town hall meeting where he choke slammed the guy?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, through a table. I think that was when he was running for mayor. That was a couple of years ago.
Well, you know, I'm old now, so I get videos on delay by a year and a half.
No, you're right though. You're right. I was in the video. That was great.
Because I just saw that like a week ago.
Like, did you?
I was like, that's really funny.
He came out to the fucking Kane music too, which is so funny.
That is awesome.
I can only imagine, like at a fucking board meeting or whatever that was. I think it was a campaign or something. I can only imagine the other people sitting in that room and they're like, "What is this shit?" You know what I mean?
I also think like from whenever you're you forget sometimes, like especially being a comedian, like that 99% of the world doesn't, everyth's not a joke. Like when you're a comedian, it's like constantly looking for what's funny about everything. It's like, well, most of the world doesn't operate like that. So I just imagine these people who have spent their lives trying to like get into local politics and maybe have bigger aspirations, and they're like, we're about to lose to this guy just because he has cool music. And that's nothing to say, no indictment of Glenn Jacobs, but it's just like they have no chance of beating him, even if everything they say is better for the town or city. It's like he's still gonna win because
he's Kane. You know, he doesn't have a follow. I don't even live there. I would vote for him. I would move there just to vote for
I'll write him in. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I know exactly. I mean, unless he's like the biggest dumbass alive when it comes to being a politician, which he seems like he has pretty good policies. I don't know too much about it.
Well, he seems at least like he's not. It's not a joke. It's not a
exactly.
Not pardon the pun. It's not a gimmick. It's
exactly.
He legitimately feels a civic responsibility. So
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think he's done a good job so far from what I've seen for the most part. So
mm,
that's cool. But yeah, it's funny. Just like, again, they don't show the footage of the people in the back, but I can only
right,
imagine like people just sitting on their hands. I think it's worse to have people there that aren't reacting as opposed to
yeah,
like now with wrestling, they have no
yeah,
fans there. So
yeah,
when they do something, there's no noise, but there's no
right,
fans there to not react. You know what I mean?
right,
Like
right, right,
it's
right,
even
right.
worse when you have someone standing in front of you and you say a joke and they don't say
Yeah.
anything. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
it's the worst, loneliest feeling in the world. It's like, oh, nobody liked that. That's not funny. I made myself laugh with it for 2 months now, but yeah, that's the loneliness of stand up right there. Is
Exactly. It kind of goes hand in hand, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
As we wind down here, man, we were talking about like the wrestling shows and stuff like that. Biggest slash coolest wrestling experience show that you've been to that comes to mind.
Mm. Well, biggest was definitely I went to a Monday Night Raw taping, and that was
Nice.
like, just in the scope of like that was like in the era of Cena, The Rock. It was like probably early 2000s would be
Wow.
like Rock was kind of had done some movies but hadn't become a huge movie star. I
Hmm.
think um I'm gonna say a couple because I also went to a house show when the Undertaker was not wrestling on TV,
Hmm.
and they were bringing him back like he was like probably coming back from an injury, and
Yeah.
he wrestled a match at the house show. So it
Oh,
was
that's
like,
cool.
this is your chance to see the Undertaker when he hasn't been on TV in like a year and a half. So it was like,
Was this in like
uh,
the last couple of years, like the last 10
no,
years or this?
this was 20 something years ago.
Oh, okay. Because he's
Yeah,
done that recently too. I don't
yeah.
know if this is like a new thing, but I guess he's been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, and then similarly, I went to a WCW house show where when Sting was off of TV on before everything felt when Nitro was still really popular,
Yeah.
and I watched him wrestle. The coolest wrestling thing that I've ever been a part of was or ever watched was a thing called Nuclear Heat here in
Hmm.
LA that was like a wrestling show in a music club.
Oh,
So it was
interesting.
like it was pretty intimate. There was like 150 people there probably would be
Hmm.
my guess. And just watching wrestling like that where you're all right next to the ring was
Yeah.
really cool. It was really interesting and fun. And I'm trying to think of who was there. Morrison wrestled at it, and
Nice.
um, um, what's the guy's name? Luchasaurus.
Oh yeah, yeah, Judy
Love
Step.
that
Oh
guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
Julia. He's in
yeah,
AEW
yeah,
now. Yeah, he's
yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, I love
He was on
that
the
guy.
fucking Bachelor, I think, or something
Yeah.
like that. Or Big Brother. Big Brother is what he was on.
Oh, either way. And then yeah, but like and Ryan Nemeth was there. It was him and his girlfriend, I think, produced the whole event. But
Oh, that's cool.
it was a really fun just to watch. Like they had a couple guys that were high flyers and they were
Hmm.
like doing big spots off of like the top rope. And I'm like, man, you are so brave. And like not this is where I maybe have the wrong attitude, but I'm like, there's not enough people here to justify you risking your life like that. Like it's like this isn't
Yeah.
on TV. There's 100 people in this room, and you just did a backflip from like 17 feet off the ground. Like I
Oh
like
yeah, they
nope.
don't care.
I was like, don't do that. But they don't care. But I mean, that made it incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
all credit to them. That was awesome. But
Yeah.
that to
No.
me was
No.
the most electric wrestling thing I'd ever
Oh
seen.
yeah. No. It sounds like I completely agree. Where I've been like enough indie shows, as those
Mm-hmm.
independent shows, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Where sometimes they're even bigger and better than like the main shows, like the
Mm-hmm.
WWE's and whatever, because it's so much more intimate, and they
Mm-hmm.
also get involved with the wrestler or the wrestling fans too. They had
Mm-hmm.
a company called PWG in
Mm-hmm.
on California. I forgot where it was, Rosita maybe. I forgot
Mm-hmm.
what it was exactly, but they would like the woman from Family Matters, Sophia. I forgot what her name is, but don't remember. But the woman from the Latina woman from Modern Family, not Family Matters,
Yeah,
from
Sofia
Modern Family.
Vergara.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
She was at one of those shows, and they got her involved in like a match or something like that. It's like 100 people. There's
awesome.
no
Yeah.
barricade. Literally
Mm-hmm.
fans surrounding the ring. Like that
Mm-hmm.
that intimate atmosphere is just so. It's amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That goes for really
it's
anything.
it's really cool. It's like you just can't help but get into it, even if you're a casual fan. I feel like if you go to one of those, you're like you're in it now.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, totally. And yeah, those type of shows are just always a blast.
Yeah.
Favorite match that comes to mind for you over the last
Ooh, a
number of years
favorite
you've been watching
match.
wrestling or
Favorite.
matches if you can't come up with one?
I mean, I I'll when Mankind pinned The Rock with a forklift on Super Bowl Sunday. That was I know wrestling purists won't love that match, but
Boo. Yeah,
I,
no, that's amazing. Though they'll shit all over that one.
but I'll tell you, however old I was, I loved it. I was a big Mankind fan, and I was like, I remember I bought his biography when it came out. When he wrote his he had like an autobiography that he wrote.
Have a Nice Day, I think it was called. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I read it in like a day because I just was such a huge Mankind
He's
fan.
awesome.
But actual wrestling matches, try to think of like.
That's a good answer though.
I mean, I just in terms of like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, that Seth Rollins Triple H match, I was really, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was very engaged in that.
Yeah.
There's been some Dean Ambrose matches over the years that I remember. I was like, he does such a good job of looking like he's physically desperate, like he's like he's got nothing left, and then he kind of does the in my opinion, I'm sure this has probably been brought up in a more eloquent way. He does the like Hulk Hogan thing, but in a demented way of like,
that's a great way to put it.
I am bruised and battered, but now through the pure brokenness of my brain, I will fight on with immense strength. And I always love. I can't think of specific matches, but there's been some. I've watched so much now; it's hard to like.
It all kind of blends together.
One out, but
honestly, it's more of a moments too than it is matches.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for all the like cinematic matches they've been trying to do recently, as silly as they were. Like,
I completely agree. It's different.
It's just different and it's fun. I like that. I remember watching when John Cena came out to fight Kurt Angle for his like first.
His debut.
Like I remember that and being like, "This is amazing! I can't believe that they did this." Like.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. There's been a lot of stuff. I mean, not just the men. Some of the matches that Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair had, and those were incredible.
They had one in Long Island a couple of years ago. They had their first ever women's pay-per-view, and I think it was in Long Island. I think, right next to Hofstra University. I forgot that. Yeah. It's gone now. God, what was it called? The Long Island Stadium. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah, the building got closed down, but the Becky Lynch and Charlotte matches, they've had a ton of great matches. Completely agree with those. The Rollins and Triple H, when I was there for that one, I was in Orlando at WrestleMania. Very good match. The Hardy Boys came back in that same show. It's still one of the greatest things I have ever seen, dude, in my life.
The New Day were hosting, right?
It was in Orlando.
Because I remember being like, how did the New Day not have a match in this? Like,
and they were supposed to. They came out with the gear. It's like, okay, they're going to enter.
Yeah.
And the Hardy Boys came out instead. And it's still the greatest thing I've ever seen live.
That was really cool.
Oh, lost my voice for like, I think a week after that. So it was incredible. And I love that you brought up the halftime heat match too. With
people. Well, I just remember it was so funny to me because the line, the angle Jerry the King Lawler took was that he hated the NFL.
Yeah.
It was such he's like, if you hate football as much as I do, what? So I was like, wait, what a weird take. Like, it's like you could just say, in addition to football, there's like Super Bowl Sunday. Like, that was so funny. So funny.
There's a lot of football fans that watch wrestling too. So why, alienate that part of your audience by saying if you hate football, then watch it? It's very weird, but they did another one of those a couple of years ago, the NXT guys, and they did it on like their YouTube channel. But I never knew why they didn't do more halftime heat stuff because it's such a great idea. I mean, obviously,
it is. The
halftime Super Bowl show is amazing, but sometimes it's not so good.
There's a whole group, especially now that the average house has like 5 TVs in it. It's not like you're like. It's like if your mom and dad want to watch Shakira and Jennifer Lopez, that's fine. And if you're a 13-year-old boy or a 37-year-old man and you want to watch, AJ Styles and Ricochet go at it, it's like that should be allowed. We should be able to do that.
We should get some variety in there.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm still thinking about matches. I mean, some of those Kevin Owens matches too, when he was like, when him and Sami Zayn would go at it.
Yeah, great matches.
I mean, really, just any Kevin Owens. I'm a big Kevin Owens fan.
Love KO. He's a great dude too.
Is he? That makes me happy to
hear. He's a very nice guy.
He seems like it because he's so good at playing a jerk.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, in the entertainment industry, the people who play jerks are really nice, and the people who play really nice are jerks. And like it's kind of a weird
That is
thing.
weird.
But
Yeah.
like my acting teacher used to say, like, don't trust someone whose persona on TV is like complete niceness. Like,
Yeah.
like, it's like they're just not. There's no way you can be because no one's like that. No one's nice all the time. It's
Yeah.
like there's something inauthentic and creepy about it. But
No,
yeah.
exactly. No, it makes sense. No,
Some nice people are genuinely nice, to be fair.
I would put you in that group as well, Tommy.
Yeah, thank you. But you don't know how I can get. No.
I haven't competed against you in one of these fitness shows, so
That's right. Not yet, Graham. Not yet. But we've got plans. Come on.
Sequel. Maybe down the road.
There you go.
Absolutely. Last question for you, dude, as we wind down here. Favorite wrestler of all time?
Ooh.
Or again, if not just one, maybe a few.
Favorite wrestler, man. I mean, he's really testing me now with his recent behavior, but Jericho is.
Yeah, with his recent behavior.
Jericho is. Oh man, I love him.
Yep.
When I was a kid, I loved Roddy Piper.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the original like Wolfpack with Nash and Scott Hall.
Classic.
Those guys. I mean, I know those gimmicks and those stables were always kind of stopped and started by injuries and stuff, but love those guys. Those definitely some of my favorites. Bailey is one of my newer favorite. I guess not newer, but like I like her. She's
sense.
great.
Yeah, she's come in the last couple of years.
Yeah, she's really fun. Yeah, I think like that's it. Those are probably my when I was a kid, I went through a big Conan phase.
Conan, classic. That's so funny.
I had a Conan shirt, and I used to be kind of embarrassed to like wear just that, so I'd wear a flannel over it. And one day I forgot to put the flannel over it and put my winter jacket on. And I got to school, and I just had to wear my Conan shirt loud and proud for everybody.
That's amazing.
But I loved him, even though he was always like kind of a sidekick, but I loved him. He was great.
Yeah. Conan's great. I mean, I guess better a Conan shirt than like a DX shirt that says like "kiss my ass" or something.
Yeah, for sure. Mr. Ass.
Your third grade teacher's like, what the fuck is he wearing? You know what I mean?
Well, that's an interesting shirt choice, Tom.
Exactly. Principal's office you go. Happens almost to every wrestling fan. But this has been awesome, dude. I've loved absolutely picking your brain on wrestling again. There's a million more things I can ask you, so we definitely have to do this again down the road. But
anytime, I'd be happy to, Graham. Thanks so much for having me.
Definitely, Tommy. I appreciate it. And before we wind down here, people can find you on the social medias at Tommy Bechtold, or is it at just Tommy Bechtold, or is it the Tommy Bechtold?
Just at Tommy Bechtold.
The Christmas boy.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
We discussed the origin of that last time, but people can find you on the Rockstars as well. You got a lot of awesome stuff. The fitness show again every Sunday. If you want to check that out, it's just an absolute blast. But Tommy, this has been great, man. Thanks so much for joining me again. This has been amazing.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I'd be happy to come back anytime.
Thanks, Tommy. Look forward to it.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye.